International Space Station documentary opening segment, high above the Earth, far beyond clouds, storms, and cities, something massive moves in complete silence. It is not alive, it does not breathe, yet humans live inside it. Every 90 minutes it circles the entire planet. Every second it travels faster than a bullet, and most people on Earth never notice it. This is the International Space Station. From the ground it looks like a small moving star, a short white line crossing the night sky. But in reality, it is one of the largest and most complex machines ever built by human hands. At this very moment, while the world sleeps, eats, or argues, astronauts are floating inside this station, more than 400 kilometers above Earth. There is no gravity holding them down. There is no air outside protecting them. Only a thin metal wall separates life from death. The International Space Station is not just a science lab. It is a fragile human outpost in one of the most dangerous environments known to exist. Space is cold. Space is empty. Space does not forgive mistakes. One small error, one broken system, and there is no escape. Yet for more than 2 decades, humans have lived here continuously. Why? Why did humans decide to build a home in space? Why risk lives so far from Earth? And how does this giant structure survive where no human body can? To understand this, we must look up and back in time. Long before the space station existed, space was not a place of cooperation. It was a battlefield. During the Cold War, powerful nations looked at the sky not with curiosity but with fear. Rockets were symbols of power. Satellites were tools of control. The United States and the Soviet Union were racing, not only for the moon, but for dominance beyond Earth. But deep inside laboratories and research centers, scientists had a different dream. They asked a simple question: what if space could unite humanity instead of dividing it? What if humans could live together in space, not as enemies but as explorers? That question would eventually give birth to the International Space Station. Building the ISS was not easy. In fact, many believed it was impossible. The station would have to survive extreme heat and freezing cold. It would face powerful radiation from the sun. It would travel through clouds of space debris moving faster than bullets. And most importantly, humans would have to live inside it for months, sometimes for an entire year. On Earth, if something breaks, help is minutes away. In space, help is hundreds of kilometers away. Every screw, every wire, every panel had to work perfectly. There was no room for failure. The ISS is not anchored to anything. It does not sit still. It is constantly falling toward Earth, but moving so fast sideways that it keeps missing the planet. This balance keeps it in orbit. At an incredible speed of 28,000 kilometers per hour, the station races around the Earth, watching continents pass below. Sunrise and sunset happen every 45 minutes. Astronauts see the sun rise and fall 16 times a day, but beauty comes with danger. Outside the station, temperatures change violently. One side burns in sunlight, the other freezes in darkness. Inside, life depends on machines. Machines that produce oxygen, machines that remove carbon dioxide, machines that recycle water from sweat, breath, and even urine. Nothing is wasted, because in space nothing is easily replaced. The station itself is made of many parts called modules. Each module has a purpose. Some are used for sleeping, some for science, some for controlling the station. They were not built together. They were launched separately over many years using powerful rockets. Each launch was a risk. One failure could destroy years of work. Astronauts performed dangerous spacewalks to connect parts together, floating above Earth, holding onto metal rails, knowing that one mistake could send them drifting forever into darkness. No sound, no air, no second chance. Slowly, piece by piece, the station grew, like a giant puzzle assembled in space. Inside the ISS, life feels unreal. There is no floor, there is no ceiling, everything floats. Astronauts must strap themselves to sleep or they will drift away. Food must be carefully controlled or it will float into equipment. Even a small drop of water can become a dangerous object. Every movement must be planned. Even simple actions like brushing teeth or drinking water require training. Yet astronauts adapt. They laugh, they work, they take photos of Earth. Looking down, they see no borders, no walls, no lines separating countries. Only one planet, blue, fragile, alive. Many astronauts say that this view changes them forever. But the International Space Station is not a safe place. It is constantly under threat. Tiny pieces of old satellites and broken rockets orbit Earth at deadly speeds. These pieces are too small to see but powerful enough to punch holes through metal. When danger approaches, astronauts must hide in safe modules. Sometimes they prepare for evacuation, because if the station is damaged beyond repair, there is no way to fix everything. The station is also exposed to radiation. On Earth, the planet's magnetic field protects life. In space, that protection is weaker. Astronauts receive more radiation in one mission than most people receive in a lifetime. This slowly affects their bodies. Bones weaken, muscles shrink, vision changes. Yet they continue because the mission is bigger than fear, so why take all these risks? The answer lies in knowledge. The ISS is a laboratory like no other. In microgravity, scientists study how the human body reacts without weight. They test medicines. They observe fluids, fire, and materials in ways impossible on Earth. These experiments help doctors treat diseases. They help engineers design better technology. They help humanity prepare for future missions to the Moon, Mars, and beyond. The ISS is not just about space. It is about the future of humanity. Every day, teams on Earth watch the station closely. Thousands of people work behind the scenes. Engineers, scientists, controllers. They listen to every sound. They monitor every system, because silence can mean danger. In space, survival depends on teamwork between those above Earth and those below. The ISS is proof of what humans can achieve when they work together. Former enemies became partners. Different languages became one mission. Above Earth, politics disappeared. Only science remained. As the station continues its endless journey, it carries more than equipment and experiments. It carries hope. Hope that humanity can survive beyond Earth. Hope that cooperation is possible. Hope that one day humans will travel deeper into the universe. But the ISS is not eternal. It is aging. Metal grows tired. Systems wear down. One day it will be retired. And when that day comes, the station will fall back to Earth, burning like a shooting star. But its legacy will remain. Because long before humans reach Mars, long before cities rise on other worlds, the story will begin here. With a silent guardian circling the Earth, watching over humanity from the darkness of space. Why the International Space Station was built. Before the International Space Station ever touched space, the world below Earth was divided. Nations did not trust each other. Borders were guarded. And fear ruled the future. Space, instead of being a place of wonder, became a place of competition. In the middle of the 20th century, two superpowers looked at the sky with the same goal: power. The United States and the Soviet Union. Whoever controlled space would control the future. Rockets were not only tools of science, they were symbols of strength. Every launch was a message to the world. The race to space had begun. In 1957, the Soviet Union shocked the world. They launched Sputnik, the first artificial satellite. It was small, it was simple, but it changed history. For the first time, a human-made object orbited Earth. The sky was no longer untouchable. Soon after, humans followed. Yuri Gagarin became the first human in space. Then came American astronauts. Then the Moon. Each mission was about pride, victory, and survival. But behind the scenes, scientists were learning something important. Space was not easy, and it was not safe. Early space missions showed how fragile humans were beyond Earth. Astronauts could stay in space only for short periods. Their bodies suffered. Their minds struggled. Engineers realized something critical. If humans wanted to go farther, if they wanted to reach Mars, they needed a place to practice living in space. Not for hours, not for days, but for months and years. They needed a space home. The first idea was simple: build a small station, send a few astronauts, learn from their experience. Both the United States and the Soviet Union tried this separately. The Soviets built Salyut stations. Then came Mir, the first long-term space station. Cosmonauts lived there for months. They learned how the human body changes. They learned how machines fail in space. They learned how loneliness affects the mind. Mir was a success, but it also showed how dangerous space stations could be. Fires broke out. Collisions happened. Systems failed. Sometimes Mir came dangerously close to disaster. Space was teaching hard lessons. Meanwhile, the United States had its own plans. NASA imagined a large space station bigger than anything built before, a station that could support science, astronauts, and future missions. But there was a problem: money. Building such a station alone was extremely expensive. At the same time, the Cold War was ending. The Soviet Union collapsed. The world changed. Old enemies were no longer enemies, and a new idea was born. What if space became a place of cooperation? What if former rivals worked together? Instead of building separate stations, why not build one station together? A station that belonged to all humanity. This idea was risky. Different countries used different technology, different languages, different engineering standards, trust was fragile, but the opportunity was historic. The International Space Station was born from this bold decision. In 1998, the first piece of the ISS was launched into space. It was called Zarya, meaning sunrise. It was built by Russia but funded by the United States. This single module represented something powerful: cooperation. Soon after, more modules followed, from the United States, from Russia, from Europe, from Japan, from Canada. More than 15 nations joined the project. Never before had humanity attempted something this complex together. The goal of the ISS was clear: learn how to live in space, study science in microgravity, prepare for future exploration. But there was another goal, one that was never written clearly: peace. Above Earth, astronauts from different nations would eat together, work together, trust each other with their lives. In space, politics did not matter. Only survival mattered. Building the ISS was like building a city, but without gravity. Each module had to fit perfectly. Each connection had to be exact. A mistake of just a few millimeters could cause failure. Engineers planned everything years in advance. Every bolt, every cable, every emergency procedure. Astronauts trained underwater for months to simulate weightlessness. They practiced connecting modules again and again. Because once in space, there would be no second try. The space station was designed to be alive. It breathes. Air is constantly recycled. Carbon dioxide is removed. Oxygen is produced. Water is recycled again and again. Sweat, breath, even urine, nothing is wasted. Because resupply missions are rare and expensive, the ISS must survive on its own. One of the biggest challenges was power. The station needs electricity to survive. So engineers designed massive solar panels. These panels stretch like wings. They follow the sun as the station orbits Earth. They produce enough power to run a small city. Without them, the ISS would become a dark, frozen metal shell. Another challenge was protection. Space is filled with danger. Radiation from the sun, micrometeorites, space debris. The station was built with special shielding, not perfect, but enough to reduce risk. Still, danger is always present. Astronauts know this. They accept it. The ISS was never meant to be permanent. Originally, it was planned for a few years. But as time passed, its importance grew. New experiments, new discoveries, new missions. The station became essential. It became humanity's first true step into long-term space living. Perhaps the most important lesson of the ISS is not scientific. It is human. Astronauts from different cultures learn to trust each other completely. In space, there is no room for hate, no room for ego. One mistake can kill everyone, so cooperation is not optional, it is survival. From Earth, the ISS is just a bright dot in the sky, but in reality it is a symbol of what humanity can achieve together. It proves that humans can live beyond Earth. It proves that science can unite nations. It proves that the future does not have to be built on conflict. As the station continues to orbit silently above the planet, its mission continues. Experiments run day and night. Astronauts come and go. The Earth changes below, but the dream remains the same: to prepare humanity for the next great journey. Because the ISS is not the destination, it is the training ground, and the question remains: if humans can live together peacefully in space, why not on Earth? How humans assembled the International Space Station. Building a city on Earth is difficult. Building a city in space is almost impossible. Yet humans attempted something even more dangerous. They decided to build the International Space Station piece by piece while it was already orbiting Earth at extreme speed. There was no ground, no cranes, no safety net, only humans, machines, and the cold silence of space. The ISS was never launched as one object. It was too large, too heavy, too complex. Instead, it was designed like a giant puzzle. Each piece would be launched separately. Each piece would be connected in orbit, and each connection would be done hundreds of kilometers above Earth. One mistake could destroy the entire mission. The first module, Zarya, was launched in 1998. It was only the beginning. Soon, the American module Unity followed. Two massive objects, both moving at thousands of kilometers per hour, had to meet perfectly in space. There was no room for error. Astronauts guided the modules slowly, inch by inch, second by second. When they finally connected, history was made. Humanity had officially started building a home in space, but the hardest part had just begun. Over the next several years, more than 40 space missions were launched to build the ISS. Each mission carried a new piece: living modules, laboratories, power systems, robotic arms. Every launch was dangerous. A rocket failure could erase years of planning in seconds. Yet mission after mission, humans continued. One of the most important tools in building the ISS was the robotic arm. It was long, powerful, and extremely precise. Operated by astronauts inside the station, the arm captured incoming modules and moved them slowly into position. But the arm alone was not enough. Humans had to go outside. Spacewalks are among the most dangerous tasks ever performed by humans. When an astronaut steps outside the ISS, there is no protection, only a spacesuit. Inside that suit, the astronaut depends on oxygen, pressure, and temperature control. If the suit fails, survival time is measured in seconds. During a spacewalk, there is no sound, no wind, no voices, only breathing. Astronauts move slowly, holding onto rails with gloved hands. Below them, Earth spins silently. One wrong move, one loose grip, and the astronaut could drift away forever. Each spacewalk could last 6 to 8 hours. Astronauts connected cables, attached solar panels, installed antennas, repaired damaged parts. Every action required perfect focus. Sweat collected inside helmets. Hands became numb. Bodies grew tired. But stopping was not an option, because the station was incomplete. Some of the most dangerous moments came during solar panel installation. These panels were huge, larger than a basketball court. They had to be unfolded carefully. If a panel twisted or jammed, it could snap. A broken panel meant loss of power, and without power, the station would die. Astronauts worked carefully, slowly, under constant pressure. Sometimes things went wrong. Panels stuck. Bolts refused to turn. Cables floated away. Each problem had to be solved on the spot. There was no instruction manual for everything. Inside the station, astronauts lived among tools and wires. The ISS was not yet a comfortable home. It was a construction site. Sleeping areas were small. Noise from machines never stopped. Space was tight. Yet, astronauts continued working day after day, because every successful connection brought the station closer to life. One of the greatest challenges was connecting modules built by different countries. Russian systems were different from American systems. European technology followed different standards. Japanese modules had unique designs. Nothing matched perfectly. Engineers on Earth worked day and night, solving problems as they appeared. Sometimes, solutions were invented in real time. Human creativity became the most important tool. The ISS also had to be balanced carefully. As new modules were added, the station's weight changed. Its center of mass shifted. Engineers had to adjust its orientation constantly. If balance was lost, the station could spin uncontrollably. Thrusters fired gently to keep it stable. The ISS was like a living creature, always adjusting, always moving. Perhaps the most emotional moments came when astronauts looked back at what they had built. From a distance, the ISS looked unreal. Metal shining in sunlight, solar panels glowing blue, Earth floating behind it. Humans had built this, not on land, not on sea, but in the emptiness of space. By 2011, the main structure of the ISS was complete. It had taken more than 13 years, hundreds of astronauts and cosmonauts, thousands of engineers, millions of hours of work. The ISS was now the largest object ever assembled in orbit, larger than a football field, heavier than any spacecraft before it, and yet it floated effortlessly above Earth. But building the ISS was not just about technology, it was about trust. Astronauts trusted engineers, engineers trusted machines. Nations trusted each other. In space, trust is survival. There were moments when everything could have failed. Near misses with space debris, equipment failures, dangerous spacewalks. Each time humans adapted, they learned, they improved. The ISS became stronger with every challenge. Today, when people look at the ISS, they see a finished structure. But they do not see the fear, the risk, the courage. They do not see astronauts floating above Earth, tightening bolts with shaking hands. They do not hear the silence of space. But that silence remembers everything. The ISS is not just metal and wires. It is built from human effort, from mistakes corrected, from problems solved, from courage tested again and again. It is proof that humans can build impossible things, even in the most hostile environment. And as the station continues to orbit Earth, it carries this story with it. A story of construction without ground, of teamwork without borders, of survival without mercy. But once the station was built, a new challenge began. Living inside it. Living without gravity from the outside, the International Space Station looks strong and powerful, but inside, life is delicate. There is no ground to stand on, no chair to sit on, no bed to lie down, everything floats. For astronauts, the first moments inside the ISS feel unreal. The body expects gravity, but gravity is gone, arms drift upward, legs float behind. A simple push sends the body gliding across the module. At first it feels like freedom. Then reality begins. Living in zero gravity changes everything. On Earth, gravity helps humans without them realizing it. It keeps blood flowing normally. It keeps bones strong. It keeps muscles active. In space, gravity is almost zero. The human body starts to change immediately. Blood moves toward the head. Faces become swollen. Legs grow thinner. Astronauts call it puffy face, chicken legs. The body is confused. Simple daily tasks become challenges. Drinking water is not easy. Water does not fall, it floats. Astronauts drink through special bags and straws. If a drop escapes, it becomes a floating sphere. That tiny drop can damage electronics, so every action must be careful. Even eating is different. Food comes in sealed packets. Crumbs are dangerous. Floating crumbs can enter machines or lungs. Meals are slow and controlled. There is no shower in space. Water would float everywhere. Instead, astronauts clean themselves with wet towels and wipes. Privacy is limited. The ISS is crowded. Every module is filled with equipment, cables, and experiments. Personal space is rare. Astronauts learn to respect silence. Sleeping in space feels strange. There is no bed. Each astronaut has a small sleeping cabin about the size of a phone booth. Inside, they strap themselves into sleeping bags. If they do not, they will float away while sleeping. Some astronauts say they feel like they are floating inside a dream. Others struggle. Without gravity, the body does not feel tired the same way. Day and night happen every 45 minutes. The mind must learn a new rhythm. Loneliness is one of the hardest challenges. Astronauts are far from family, far from nature, far from normal life. They see Earth every day but cannot touch it. Sometimes they look out of the window for long periods, watching oceans, watching storms, watching city lights. That view can bring peace. It can also bring sadness. The mind changes in space. Small problems feel bigger. Silence feels louder. Emotions feel stronger. That is why astronauts are carefully chosen. They must stay calm under pressure. They must work well with others. They must control emotions. In space, one argument can affect everyone. Teamwork is survival. Exercise is not optional on the ISS. Without gravity, muscles weaken fast. Bones lose strength. Astronauts exercise 2 hours every day. They run on treadmills with straps pulling them down. They lift special resistance machines. Even with exercise, the body changes. After months in space, astronauts return weaker. Walking on Earth feels heavy. Gravity feels strange. The ISS runs on strict schedules. Every minute is planned. Wake up, health check, work, experiment, exercise, meals, sleep. There is little free time, but astronauts do find moments of joy. They play music. They watch movies. They talk to family through video calls. They celebrate birthdays and holidays, floating cakes and all. These small moments matter. The station is never quiet. Machines hum constantly. Air systems, fans, pumps, silence could mean danger. A strange sound can signal a problem. Astronauts are trained to notice everything. In space, awareness is life. Emergencies are always possible. Fire, air leaks, system failure. Astronauts train again and again for these moments. If fire breaks out, there is no escape. If air leaks, oxygen disappears fast. Every astronaut knows emergency paths by heart. Fear is controlled through preparation. Despite the danger, astronauts continue working. They conduct experiments, they grow plants, they test new materials, they study how the human body reacts to space. These experiments help people on Earth, medical research, new technology, future space missions. Life on the ISS has purpose. Perhaps the most powerful moment of each day is Earth viewing time. Astronauts gather near the large windows. They watch lightning storms. They watch deserts and forests. They watch the thin blue line of Earth's atmosphere. That thin line protects all life. From space, Earth looks fragile. Many astronauts say this view changes them forever. Borders disappear. Conflicts seem small. Only one planet remains. But life on the ISS is not permanent. Every mission has an end. After months in space, astronauts prepare to return. Their bodies must adjust again. Muscles ache. Balance is lost. Simple walking feels difficult. Gravity welcomes them back slowly and painfully. Yet most astronauts say the same thing. They would go again because living in space teaches something powerful. It teaches discipline. It teaches humility. It teaches cooperation. It shows how small humans are and how capable. The International Space Station is not luxury. It is not comfort. It is survival. Every day inside it is a test of human limits. Physical, mental, emotional, and still humans endure. As the ISS continues to orbit Earth, life inside goes on, experiments continue, bodies adapt. minds grow stronger, but outside the station danger is always waiting. Invisible, fast, deadly. And that danger comes from space itself. Why the International Space Station truly matters. The International Space Station may look quiet from the outside, but inside it is always alive. Every day something important is happening. Experiments are running. Data is being collected. The future is being tested. The ISS is not just a place where humans live. It is a laboratory unlike any other in human history. On Earth, gravity controls everything. Fire rises upward. Liquids fall down. Objects stay on the ground. In space, gravity almost disappears, and when gravity disappears, science changes. This is why the ISS is so valuable. It allows scientists to study the universe in ways that are impossible on Earth. One of the most important experiments on the ISS is the human body itself. Astronauts are living test subjects. Doctors study how bones weaken in microgravity, how muscles shrink, how the heart changes. These studies help prepare humans for long missions. If humans want to go to Mars, they must survive months, even years in space. The ISS is teaching scientists how to protect the human body. Bone loss in space is similar to osteoporosis on Earth. By studying astronauts, doctors develop better treatments for patients. Muscle research helps people who cannot move for long periods. Space science is saving lives on Earth. The ISS also helps scientists study the human brain. How does isolation affect the mind? How does distance from Earth change emotions? Astronauts report changes in sleep, memory, and mood. Understanding these changes helps not only astronauts but also people on Earth, such as those working in extreme environments or suffering from loneliness. Another major area of research is medicine. In microgravity, cells grow differently. Proteins form better shapes. This allows scientists to study diseases more clearly. Cancer research, Alzheimer's research, new drug development. Some medicines created using space research are already helping patients on Earth. Plants are also studied on the ISS. At first, it seemed impossible. How can plants grow without gravity? But astronauts have successfully grown lettuce, flowers, and other crops. Plants grow differently in space. Roots do not know which direction to go. Leaves behave strangely. By studying this, scientists learn how to grow food on long space missions. Because humans cannot carry all food to Mars, they must grow it. Water behavior in space is another critical study. On Earth, water flows downward. In space, water floats and forms spheres. Understanding fluid behavior helps engineers design better fuel systems, cooling systems, and medical devices. Even simple things like how liquids mix behave differently. These discoveries improve technology on Earth. Fire is one of the greatest dangers in space. On Earth, fire rises. In space, fire becomes a floating ball. It burns slower, it spreads differently. Scientists study fire on the ISS to understand how to stop it. This research improves fire safety in spacecraft and buildings on Earth. The ISS also studies Earth itself. From its orbit, astronauts observe climate change. They watch ice melt, they track storms, they study forests and oceans. The station provides valuable data about our planet. It helps scientists understand how Earth is changing and how fragile it is. Technology testing is another major role of the ISS. New materials are exposed to space conditions. Extreme heat, extreme cold, radiation. These tests help design better spacecraft, better suits, better satellites, better protection. Every future mission depends on what is learned here. Perhaps the most important goal of ISS science is preparing for Mars. Mars is far away. A journey there could take 6 to 9 months. There is no quick return, no rescue mission. Astronauts must survive on their own. The ISS helps scientists answer key questions. Can humans stay healthy for long periods in space? Can they grow food? Can machines support life for years? Every experiment on the ISS brings humanity closer to Mars. The ISS also tests teamwork under pressure. Future Mars crews will be small. They will face isolation. They will face danger. By studying astronaut behavior on the ISS, scientists learn how teams function in extreme conditions. This knowledge is critical. A mission to Mars depends not just on technology, but on human cooperation. Another important area is robotics and artificial intelligence. Robotic systems are tested on the ISS. These systems will one day help astronauts on the Moon and Mars. Robots can explore dangerous areas. They can repair equipment. They can assist humans. The future of space exploration is human and machine together. The ISS also inspires the next generation. Students around the world watch astronauts perform experiments. They see science in action. They see humans living beyond Earth. This inspiration creates future scientists, engineers, and explorers. The ISS is not only a laboratory, it is a classroom in space. All this science comes with risk. Experiments can fail, equipment can break. In space, fixing problems is harder. Astronauts must be scientists, engineers, and mechanics at the same time. Every day is a challenge, but every success is a victory for humanity. Some experiments take years, others give results quickly, but all contribute to one goal: understanding how life works beyond Earth. Because one day humans will leave this planet, not because Earth is failing, but because exploration is human nature. The ISS is proof of that nature. It is humanity asking questions in the darkness, testing limits, learning from mistakes, preparing for the unknown. When future humans walk on Mars, when they build bases on the Moon, they will look back at the ISS. And they will say this is where it began, not with rockets, not with flags, but with science. The International Space Station is not just orbiting Earth. It is pushing humanity forward, quietly, patiently, relentlessly, experiment by experiment, discovery by discovery. But the work of the ISS does not happen in safety, because beyond its walls, danger is always moving. Surviving where one mistake can end everything, space looks calm from a distance. Silent, beautiful, peaceful, but that calm is an illusion. Around the International Space Station, danger is always moving, fast, invisible, unforgiving. In space, there are no second chances. The ISS orbits Earth at nearly 28,000 kilometers per hour. At this speed, even a tiny object can become deadly. A piece of metal no bigger than a screw can punch through thick walls. This is the threat of space debris. Old satellites, broken rocket parts, fragments from past collisions. Thousands of objects circle Earth. Millions more are too small to track, all moving like bullets. Every day, ground control watches these objects closely. Powerful computers calculate their paths. If debris comes too close, alarms are triggered. Sometimes the ISS must change its orbit. Thrusters fire gently. A small movement can save lives, but not all debris can be avoided. Some pieces are invisible until it is too late. Astronauts know this danger well. They are trained to react instantly. If a warning comes, they follow strict procedures. They close hatches. They move to safer modules. They prepare spacecraft for emergency escape. Because if the station is hit badly, evacuation may be the only option, leaving everything behind. One of the most terrifying dangers in space is air loss. On Earth, air surrounds us. In space, air is life. A small hole in the station can be fatal. Air escapes silently. There is no sound, no warning, only a drop in pressure. Astronauts must find the leak quickly. Seconds matter. Fire is another deadly enemy. On Earth, fire rises. In space, fire floats. It becomes a glowing ball. It spreads in strange ways. Smoke does not rise. It stays where it is. Breathing becomes dangerous. That is why astronauts train for fire emergencies again and again. They memorize every step, because panic can kill faster than fire. Radiation is an invisible threat. Outside Earth's protective magnetic field, radiation is everywhere. The sun sends powerful bursts of energy. Solar storms can damage electronics. They can harm human cells. During strong solar activity, astronauts must take shelter. They move to protected areas of the station, waiting, hoping the storm passes. Radiation damage cannot be felt immediately, but it builds slowly, silently. Then there is micrometeoroids, tiny natural particles from space. Smaller than a grain of sand, but moving at extreme speed. They strike the ISS regularly. Most hits are harmless, but some leave marks. Small scars on the station's surface. Each mark is a reminder. Space is always attacking. The ISS is also at risk from system failure. Machines keep humans alive. Oxygen systems, water recycling systems, temperature control. If these systems stop working, life becomes impossible. Astronauts constantly monitor them. They listen to unusual sound. They check readings again and again. In space, machines are trusted but never taken for granted. There have been moments when disaster came close. Very close. On several occasions, debris passed dangerously near the ISS. Astronauts were told to take shelter. Escape vehicles were prepared. Everyone waited in silence, listening, watching, breathing carefully, and then nothing happened. The debris passed by. The danger moved on for now, but not all dangers come from outside. Sometimes the station itself causes problems, leaks, electrical failures, cooling system issues. Each problem must be fixed in space. There is no repair shop, no replacement store. Astronauts must solve problems with what they have. Creativity becomes survival. Spacewalks become even more dangerous during repairs. Astronauts leave the safety of the station. They face vacuum, radiation, extreme temperatures. A small tear in a suit could be fatal. Every movement is slow, careful, controlled. Ground control watches every second. But in the end, the astronaut is alone with space. Psychological danger is real too. Living under constant risk changes the mind. Astronauts know that help is far away. They know that one mistake could end everything. This knowledge stays in the background, always present. Training helps, routine helps, but fear never fully disappears. It is controlled, not erased. Sometimes danger comes quietly, a strange smell, an unexpected alarm, a sudden silence. In space, silence is not peaceful, it is suspicious. Astronauts learn to respect it. The ISS is also aging. Metal expands and contracts with temperature changes. Wires grow old, seals weaken, the station must survive year after year. Engineers on Earth constantly evaluate risks. They repair what they can, they replace what is possible, but time affects everything, even in space. Despite all this, the ISS continues to function, day after day, year after year, because every danger faced makes the system stronger. Every problem solved adds knowledge. Humanity learns from each risk. Each near disaster improves future missions. The astronauts accept the danger, not because they ignore it, but because they understand the purpose. They know they are part of something bigger, something historic. Their courage allows future explorers to travel farther, safer, smarter. The International Space Station is not a safe place. It was never meant to be. It is a test of technology, a test of teamwork, a test of human courage. And so far, humanity has passed. As the ISS continues to race around Earth, danger continues to follow. Invisible debris, radiation storms, mechanical failure. Space does not care, it does not forgive, it only challenges. But soon a different kind of challenge appears. Not sudden, not violent, but inevitable. Time. The station is growing old. And the question becomes unavoidable. What happens when the ISS reaches the end of its life? The future of the International Space Station, nothing built by humans lasts forever. Not cities, not machines, not even dreams made of metal and light. The International Space Station is no exception. High above Earth, the ISS continues its silent journey, but time is catching up. The station was never meant to live this long. Originally, it was designed to operate for only a few years. Yet decade after decade, it survived. Through upgrades, through repairs, through human determination. But space is unforgiving. Metal grows tired, systems age, materials weaken under radiation and temperature extremes. The ISS is slowly growing old. Every orbit adds stress. Every sunrise and sunset 16 times a day causes expansion and contraction. Tiny cracks form, wires age, seals weaken. Engineers on Earth constantly monitor these changes. They track every problem. They calculate every risk. Because at some point, repairs will no longer be enough. This leads to an unavoidable question. What happens when the ISS can no longer continue? The answer is not simple. The station is too large to leave in orbit forever. If abandoned, it could become dangerous space debris. A massive, uncontrolled object circling Earth. That is not an option. So scientists and space agencies plan carefully. When the time comes, the ISS will be guided back to Earth. Not as a landing, but as a controlled fall. Most of the station will burn up in Earth's atmosphere. The remaining pieces will fall into a remote part of the ocean, far from people, far from cities, the final journey of a space giant. For many, this idea feels emotional. The ISS is not just hardware, it is history. It is the place where humans learn to live in space, where nations work together, where science advanced quietly. Letting it go feels like saying goodbye to an old friend, but endings are also beginnings. While the ISS prepares for retirement, a new era is already forming. Private companies are stepping into space. New space stations are being planned, smaller, more efficient, more modern. These stations will continue what the ISS started. Unlike the ISS, future stations may be run by private organizations. They may host scientists, tourists, and even factories. Research will continue, but space will also become a place of business. This marks a major change. From government missions to a shared future between public and private spaceflight, some future stations will focus on manufacturing. In microgravity, materials behave differently. Perfect crystals, advanced fibers, new medicines. Things impossible to create on Earth may be produced in space. The ISS opened the door. Others will walk through it. There are also plans for stations closer to the moon. These stations will act as gateways, stopping points for missions heading deeper into space, from Earth to orbit to the Moon and beyond. The ISS taught humanity how to take the first step. The next steps will be longer and farther. Yet none of this would be possible without the ISS. Every future station will be built on its lessons. What worked? What failed? What surprised scientists? The ISS was humanity's classroom, and its lessons are priceless. The international cooperation of the ISS may change too. Political situations shift, alliances change, but the idea remains powerful. Space is bigger than borders, and survival in space demands cooperation. No nation can do it alone. Astronauts who lived on the ISS often speak about one thing: perspective. From space, Earth looks small, fragile, connected. There are no visible borders, no signs of conflict, just one planet. Many astronauts return changed, more thoughtful, more protective of Earth, more aware of humanity's shared fate. This may be the ISS's greatest gift. As retirement approaches, missions become more meaningful. Every experiment feels more important. Every spacewalk feels historic. Astronauts know they are part of the final chapters. They document everything, they preserve knowledge, they prepare the future. The ISS will not disappear from history. Its data will live on, its discoveries will continue to influence science. Its story will be told to future generations. It will be remembered as humanity's first true home in space. One day, future explorers may look back, from the Moon, from Mars, from deep space. They will see the ISS as the beginning, the place where humans learn to stay, to adapt, to survive beyond Earth. The station's final days will not be sad, they will be proud, because the ISS completed its mission. It proved that humans could live together in space. It proved that cooperation is stronger than conflict. It proved that curiosity can overcome fear. As the ISS continues to orbit Earth, its time grows shorter, but its impact grows larger. It is no longer just a station. It is a symbol of patience, of teamwork, of human ambition. Soon a new chapter will begin. New stations, new missions, new worlds, but none of them will forget the silent giant that came before. The International Space Station may one day burn in Earth's atmosphere, but its legacy will never fade, because it changed the direction of humanity forever. And as this era slowly comes to an end, one final question remains. What did the ISS truly leave behind? The answer is not metal, not machines, not technology. It left behind experience, knowledge, and a belief that humans belong not only on Earth but among the stars. The true meaning of the International Space Station, high above Earth, the International Space Station continues to move, silently, relentlessly, faithfully. It does not speak. It does not choose. Yet it carries the story of humanity with every orbit. For more than 2 decades, it has watched the world below. Wars have started, wars have ended, cities have grown, oceans have changed, and still the ISS remained. The station never belonged to one nation. It belonged to an idea that humans could rise above conflict, an idea that science could unite what politics divides. Inside its metal walls, people from different cultures lived together. They shared food, they shared work, they shared risk. In space, no one survives alone. Every astronaut who entered the ISS carried something back to Earth. Not just data, not just memories, but perspective. From space, Earth looks fragile. A thin blue line protects all life. No borders, no flags, no signs of ownership, only one home. Many astronauts say that once you see Earth from space, you are never the same again. The ISS taught humanity patience. Nothing happened quickly. Experiments took years, repairs took months, trust took time. But slowly, step by step, progress was made. The station became proof that long-term vision matters. It also taught humility. In space, humans are not powerful, they are careful. They depend on machines, they depend on each other. One broken system can end everything. The ISS reminds humanity of its limits and its responsibility. The station's greatest achievement may not be scientific, it may be human. It proved that cooperation is not weakness, it is strength. When nations shared knowledge instead of hiding it, progress accelerated. When astronauts trusted each other with their lives, fear lost its power. The ISS became a bridge between Earth and space, between present and future, between what humans are and what they might become. It prepared humanity for longer journeys, harder challenges, new worlds. One day humans will walk on Mars. When that happens, the mission will not start on the launch pad, it will start here on the ISS, with lessons learned in silence, with mistakes corrected in orbit, with courage tested far from Earth. The ISS also changed how humans see Earth. Climate change, deforestation, melting ice. From space, these changes are clear. There is no debate. The planet is changing. The ISS became an eye in the sky, watching, recording, warning. It reminded humanity that Earth is not unlimited, it is precious. As the station approaches the end of its life, its importance does not fade, it grows, because only when something ends do we understand its value. Every bolt, every module, every orbit, each one carries meaning. When the ISS finally returns to Earth, it will burn brightly, a controlled fall, a final journey, a farewell written in fire across the sky. But that fire will not be destruction, it will be transformation, because the ISS will not truly disappear. Its data will remain. Its discoveries will continue to shape science. Its story will inspire future explorers. Children who watched astronauts float on screens will become engineers. Students who followed experiments will become scientists. Dreams will become missions. The ISS showed humanity that space is not only for heroes. It is for teamwork, for planning, for patience, for learning. Long after the station is gone, its legacy will travel farther than it ever did. To the moon, to Mars, to places humans have not yet imagined. Future stations will be smarter, ships will be faster, missions will be longer, but they will all carry something from the ISS: experience. In the quiet of space, the station continues its final years. Still watching Earth, still circling, still serving. It does not know it is historic, it simply exists, and sometimes that is enough. The International Space Station is humanity's message to the universe. A message that says we are curious, we are fragile, we are capable of cooperation, we make mistakes, but we learn, we fight, but we also unite. From the darkness of space, the ISS glows softly, a reminder that even in the most hostile environment, humans can build a home. And perhaps that is the station's true purpose, not to conquer space, but to understand ourselves. As Earth turns below, carrying billions of lives, the ISS completes another orbit, another silent journey, another chapter written without words. One day, humanity will look back at this moment and say, this is where we learn to stay. This is where we learn to live beyond Earth. This is where the future quietly began. The International Space Station, a superstructure of metal, a monument of science, a legacy among the stars. End of full documentary. Fast, invisible, unforgiving. Space itself is the enemy, and surviving it is the next great challenge.